On this episode of Pennies Going In Raw, we're back, and we're talking about if pennies are back, how Trump conquered COVID and then conquered the stock market, Hugh's TBLTDD and how he got it, our trip to NYC, and a lot more.
Season 2, baby!
Let's go.
Hey, yo, check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav in the building for the Atlas crew.
Atlas Trading, what the fuck is up?
There are traders, there are prodigies, and then there's legends.
We're up 4%, baby.
No way.
4 fucking percent.
Buy the fucking dip.
Hey, who told me about IDEX?
Like, dude, what the fuck? Like, someone just made, like, a lot more money than me on my trade.
You find out life's this game of pennies.
Did you check the portfolio?
Pennies. The margin for error is so small.
I bet Warren Buffett never did that.
And they out there making money right now off of penny stocks.
Them two guys is putting in work to make y'all rich.
The pennies we need are everywhere around us.
Time to think big.
Pennies Going In Raw.
Featuring Dan, Deity at Dips.
And Hugh Honey. Produced by Vinny Strokes, baby!
Welcome to Pennies Going In Raw, presented by the Blazing Chronicle. Today is Tuesday, October the 6th, and this is actually the second time we've recorded this podcast today because one of our microphones wasn't working during the first recording. Yeah, no, it wasn't mine either. Nose goes. But hey, look, it doesn't matter who it was. You know, we are a teamwork. But look, it started with me saying, everything was going great. Trump got COVID. We had a little scare. And now it's like everything's great again. But as of the past 2 hours, we are apparently no longer getting stimulus checks. And the market is just red as can be, man. It is very current and it is still happening. How are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, so first thing is that even though we were all like, oh my God, no, we were only down 1% today. The biggest thing was the initial drop, which literally took it down 3%. I think it was like close to 3%. That's what scared everyone because it was so fast, 3%. If we had started flat and Trump had tweeted that, and we ended down 3%, then we'd be like, meh. But I do think there is a huge cause for concern for tomorrow and the rest of the week. I think that unless we get some kind of news, there will be some serious selling by retail. And everybody knows that in 2008, it wasn't the housing market that crashed everything. Well, that initial crash, but where everything really got dirty was the aftershock when retail pulled out their entire portfolios out of the stock market. That's what really did the most damage. And so I really think that if they start making a run onto stocks because they think that they're not going to get a stimulus until after the election, then things could get dirty. Things can get really dirty out there.
Yeah, man. It seems like every time the market really starts heating up and getting going well, there's just something crazy out of nowhere. I mean, even if we're talking about just like SPACs in general, everything's going well. Nikola fucking CEO gets, whatever happens to him. Battery Day, Elon Musk says some crazy stuff, then everything gets back on track. And then the presidential debate looks like a fight in the Chili's parking lot, So, every time something's going well and then Trump gets COVID and now the stimulus thing, it's like there's some fork in the road that's just preventing us from getting on the right track.
Yeah. And I definitely think that this is, but I would say that this is cause for concern because the market wasn't pricing in a stimulus, but the market was basically pricing in a stimulus. It would still have ripped once the stimulus was announced, but the thing carrying the market right now is I'm going to use the word hope, but really the knowing that stimulus is coming. So saying that the stimulus is going to be held off another month, that we could see some trouble.
Yeah, man, it's you just never know what can happen in that like coming month, and I think that's something we're going to have to deal with. And at first it was okay, everything's going great after the COVID drop, after Trump's COVID drop, and like I said, it's just something new always happens. And if it starts recovering after this one, I wonder when will the next thing be? It's like, when can we feel comfortable not having to take profits? And I think we're gonna have to get into that in a little bit. But with that being said, a lot of people and a lot of FinTwit are in SPAQ. Yesterday, after hour, the merger vote was announced as October 28th. It shot from low 14s to the 15 mark. But, you know, as we saw today, it did not hold any support. It closed at like 1380. It's around 1370 right now. It's one of those things. It's like, how are you? Is this just like one of those things? Like they say, it's a long-term hold. Don't look at it. But I mean, are you expecting like a run up to the merger like everyone else is, or are you kind of getting a little worried about it now?
No, I'm not worried about it. I think that really what we saw some profit takers, because now that we have the vote, now there's not real risk. I mean, of course there's risk, but now that we have a vote, there's going to be some of the people that were just playing the run up into the vote. So, you know, we have the market was down, you know, and then you have the profit takers and the sellers, you know, who don't want to hold through the vote, which that's fine. No big deal. But I think like we do with all swings, you know, you kind of set alerts, support and resistance, and you add on the supports, and you know, if it gets to a certain resistance, then we're done. I mean, not done, but you know, you cut some, and I think that that's really important. And then I think that we'll really see a run up closer to the end of the month, and then into the actual merge. You know, I think we'll definitely see into the end of the month a run up, but we have to be nimble with it because we don't know what's going to happen with the market yet. So we still have to be nimble with it. And I think that that's the most important thing, that we set our rules, we set a game plan, and we put the plan in place. And I think that we'll be all right. And I think that towards the end of the month, once these sellers are out that don't like the merger vote, that we'll see a nice little run up. And what I wanted to do is that because it's been because the chart's been all over the place, it's created muck. But when it gets through that muck, you know, we're going to see a nice clean break, and we're going to see a nice breakout. But it's got to get through that muck. So let's let the chart cool off for a little bit, you know, do some sideways action, and then start to progress through the resistance points so that when it gets over that resistance line, you know, I think it's like around the 1750 or whatever, then it really runs, and it runs well into the actual vote.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems that this one is that there wasn't much going on in the market. It was really slow, and then they made a call. You know, there was a call that everyone was on. There was some big price targets, and you know, so many people went in on it. It's not just the fact that the market was down. There finally was a big call with big price targets, but also the fact that I think it was a little more expensive than what a lot of these people are used to trading. I mean, you got to think a majority of the calls are under $1.50, and now they're tossed to 12 to 15. And I think a mixture of a few of those things has got a lot of people with a lot of liquidity in their account in SPAC, and they're just ready for it to go. And it's causing a lot of impatience. And, you know, obviously you kind of see it in every chat room and every Twitter. Like, people are like, what the hell? I'm ready for it. And it's still not going.
Yeah, no, I think that that's a great point. And that's the thing, is that when you have a lot of retailers in it, it's not always the best thing, because they don't really know what they're doing, and every tick they're selling, and then they're trying to back 1 cent lower, and they're trying to do all this. So a lot of times, you know, it's not always great to have FinTwit or Twitter. That's why PJ and I were actually just talking about this a week ago, that our best plays are when we don't tweet about it. But yeah, so I think that everyone should have a plan. They should follow the plan. Look at others. The great thing about SPAC is that, you know, it's in a hot theme right now, and so there's so many other, you know, SPACs that you can look at and say, okay, what did it do, and what did this do, and how did this react, and then based off of that, create a plan, and that's what we can go with, and then follow your plan.
Yeah, I mean, it really is just like, this is one of those things. Like we told you about Roth IRAs, you know, whenever it dropped to 11, the episode was already out. That was a great time to get in it there. It's one of those things with, I mean, you heard about the Apple news, like the rumors?
Who, me?
Yes. Who the fuck else would I be talking to?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So it's one of those things where it's like, if that is true and you have it in your Roth IRA, and let's say it's just 3-4 years, I mean, that really could be the moneymaker. And thank God you wouldn't be taxed on the way out, huh?
Exactly. You can thank PGIR, baby.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, have some for for now, because it is a swing that is definitely having the vote coming up, and definitely can have that run up. But it's not something you should just put all your account in because someone says a $50 price target. And it's been a great call by Zach. He's been dead on as it comes. He told us when he was adding more, and I mean, if you're losing a little money or you're making a little money, I bet he's losing or making a good bit more. So it's one of those things. But we just gotta hold through it and just play what the market gives us. But with that being said, our pennies back. I think that's what this whole thing is. This podcast name, this title, this episode. Pennies going and Raw's back, but our pennies back. The past couple months, well, more specifically, like all of August and the first half of September, were a little rough to say the least. We talked about it a couple episodes ago, how there are numerous penny stocks down around 50% in the past 4 to 6 weeks. And every time you see a stock get a 10 to 15% run, you damn near have to sell for profit. So when discussing our pennies back, I think there are some levels to this. Maybe not a 100% or every other day like we were saying in June. But are we getting into seeing that pennies are back? And if they are, how are you noticing that and to what extent?
Yeah, that's really the question. And like we talked about in a few podcasts ago at the end of season 1, it was that we wanted to see some pre-market runners, we wanted to see some follow-through, and we wanted to see some sympathies. And we saw SPI run 4,000%. That was a really good indication that pennies could be coming back. And then we had WWR, PPISI. There's so many that are running.
Like even right now, there's a hurricane stock or whatever going after hours. It's Bob and PJ are on it.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's so many different things. There are some great opportunities out there. But that being said, it's not back in March where everything was going 1,000% on patent news. So we still have to be nimble with it. And we even see the market. The market went down only 1%, and we saw most of the penny market drop with it. Pretty severely. I know my portfolio got hit pretty severely when Trump tweeted that, and the market was only technically down 1% on that day.
Yeah, man, it is kind of crazy how much Twitter can affect our economy's instability.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is that, okay, yes, there are some great opportunities. We see pre-market runners. We see a huge runner that ignites the penny market. But we still have to be smart because there's so much tension right now inside the market and inside the world that there's so many different things that could really tank the economy, or tank the market really, or at least bring it down off of these highs. Then I think that this is really important. This is something that Ricky Bobby talks about a lot. And that's it inside the pre-market. On the trading floor of Atlas, we talk a lot about, okay, if pre-market's not looking good, then nothing's going to look good during the day.
So, but are there certain things in pre-market you may look for?
Yeah. So we're looking for a big runner. We're looking for something to run really well. And we're looking for futures. We would like futures. We would like SPY to be green. That's something that we would kind of look for. But we need a few pre-market runners, because if nothing runs, then nothing's going to run. You can't call a sympathy of something that runs 10%.
Yeah, I think one thing we've been noticing a lot as well is instead of gap ups, we're really getting all day runners. Like SPI went 4,000%, and it was all day, and it really wasn't just there were. I don't remember exactly how many halts there were, but it was just, I remember watching it from 20 to 40, and I was we were like, oh my god, it's up 1,800%. And then in the next 30 minutes, we watched it go another 100% from 20 to 40, but from $1, I don't feel like doing the math, but I think that's another 2,000%. So, dude, people are wanting to buy stuff, I think, is a big point. And it's, they see it happening and they're hoping for the best. And sometimes it happens, but other times, you can really get burned.
Yeah, and that another good point is that, we have to give what the market, we have to take what the market gives us.
Got to trade what's in front of you.
Exactly. And so there's going to be opportunities, but we have to be nimble with it. And I think one of the mindsets that I was talking about with someone who I kind of trade close with was Dan, how much are you up this year, percent-wise?
3,000%.
Okay, now if I told you this time last year that you would be up 3,000% by this upcoming December, would you be happy with that?
I wouldn't know what the hell you were talking about because I wasn't trading back then. But yeah,
I mean, like when you started trading November.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it was one of those things. It's like, the amount we're up right now, it's like, it's unreal. If you were to say any other time, like this is such an absurd amount, it's like, yeah, I'd expect some pullback. And if you zoom out, it's still a damn good year.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's a really good point, that it's still a really good year, and that we have to give what the market we have to take what the market gives. Because here's the thing, is that the first 6 months, the market was so hot. Everything was running nuts, blah, blah, blah. Well, because everything was so overvalued and so overextended, that means that the next 6 months, or at least, during the summer, everything's going to pull back, and it needs to pull back to that 50%. Just because it pulled back 50% doesn't mean that that's it. I mean, if it ran 1,000% and it pulls back 50%, that's nothing. That's literally nothing.
Yeah, if you bought it and you went to jail for a year and you came back to this, you'd still be pretty damn happy.
Exactly.
That's how I like to think about a lot of these stocks, is if you went to jail for a year, came back and is at this, I'd be pretty okay with my entry point.
Exactly. I think that's a really good point, is that we should have good goals and good reachable goals, and we should always be pushing ourselves. But I think that, and this is something else that I tell the guys that I trade close with, is that you have to be nimble with it. Your goals have to be flexible, because if your goals aren't flexible and you push it and something like Trump's tweet comes out, I mean, I would go as far as to say that a majority of the penny market went down 5% on Trump's tweet.
Yeah. I mean, my day was going great, and you just gotta think you can be having a great day, and all it takes is a fucking tweet. Like, you think having
that's
BSS,
all it was.
You think having BSS or Zach tweet a stock you're in is good? Imagine having the fucking president say there's no $1,200 for everyone in America.
Exactly, and that's just a tweet. Could you imagine if he put out like an official press release or something, or he did?
Or if Pearl Harbor happened, or 9/11, like shit like that. Imagine.
I mean, there's so many, or if he came out and said that the country's shutting down, or he said that not only is he pulling stimulus, but he's actually retracting.
What if COVID? What if he passed away from COVID? Like, and Pence became president. Imagine how many market halts you have then.
It'd be like 9/11. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying.
Would you have sold all your stocks if there was something saying that he's like could potentially pass away?
Oh, well, I'd be out even before I saw the tweet, because that would be, there would be a leak first, I think, probably before anything happened, because everyone said the White House is crooked. Yeah, but
there is a total difference in having weak hands and having decent risk management. Everyone should know that.
Exactly. And so I think that it's really important that we keep it nimble and we keep it tight, and understand that there's a bunch of our president still has COVID and he's working right now. And then on top of that, we still have coronavirus. Como for New York was he said that he's making a big announcement later this week. I wouldn't be surprised to see New York shut down again. So there's so many different risk factors that are so much bigger than the normal just election season.
The risk factors are so big. I mean, with this huge overextended market and everything that's going on, and it's at a point where it's like just anything can tip it over, and we're already getting hints on this, maybe a potential another shutdown, and it's just waiting, and you just never know when this shit's gonna fucking tip.
Exactly. So yeah, I think we've made our point, but just please be careful.
Yeah, there's a point where buying the dip isn't like, I bought the dip a good bit today, hoping for a little rebound. I got it. I flipped a little, but at the same time, I know I don't want to be 90% on the street right now, and embarrassingly enough, I'm like 70% on where I probably should be 50 in this environment. But I think a reason behind that, and I think this goes back to the our pennies are back, and I know we just had the all doom and gloom what if situations, but prior to a lot of this bad news, and it is crazy to think about that Trump has had two basically not market crashing, but market dip tweets with him announcing he has COVID, and of course, like, it was going to come out. And then this, it's like, maybe it would be different if it came out other ways instead of a tweet. But prior to this, a lot of like the penny stocks with their 5 to 10% gains, their personality of the stocks were getting back to normal. And that's what I really like. So you can kind of get that like $500 fluff or whatever it is relative to your account to let your swings do what they do and make you more comfortable with adding on your swings on dips and everything like that. Because, whenever you know a personality of a stock, you can really just make money off of it all day, like we talked about in the personality episode. But, whenever the market and all the penny stocks are just going down like they have in the past, or like August to September, you really couldn't play these 5 to 10% runs because, you just weren't getting them. They were going 5 to 10%, but they were only going down.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
So to kind of close out the our pennies back thing, and I think this kind of just goes into all that we've kind of gone over for this little session, is a question from AL Trading. It goes, with this new massive wave / generation of day traders we have seen forming over the last year, along with the emergence of massive social media, Twitter, accounts calling out stocks, do you think there's a possibility of increased limitations / regulations of penny stock volatility in the near future? It feels like there's been almost too many 300%, all the way up to 4,000% daily runners recently, and it makes me wonder if that is going to be addressed soon. Can you see this happening? With the way it ended with him saying, and it makes me wonder if this is going to be addressed soon, it kind of makes me think no, because like, this is like never mentioned anyways. It seems like it's just something that's swept under the rug.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
It is something where you're like, it should probably have regulations. Like, some of this shit's insane. Like, you could damn near have a faked. I remember whenever someone tweeted out the Wynn Resort X Remark Holdings Mark tweet, and it went up 50% from a leaked email where they said to Wynn Resorts, where he said, yes, we are working with Remark Holdings, and Mark went up around 55% in the next hour. And it's just some of those shit, and that could have easily just been a faked email, and I guess that could have been for everything. But with penny stocks, it goes up so much, it's a different beast.
Yeah, but the thing is that even before Twitter and social media, they had chat rooms.
Yeah,
they've had chat rooms since the 90s. And even before that, you know who, for instance, you touched on the Win. You know who was getting that information instead of Twitter? The big banks were getting the information and loading that stock. So instead of us making the money and doing our own DD, it was the freaking banks that were doing it.
Yeah, well, who does the government care more about, the Twitter traders or the bankers?
No, but that's my point. I love talking about the SEC. They definitely go for the slim pickings. They're understaffed, so they go for the slim pickings to make themselves look good. But they never go after the banks. Literally never, unless it's laying in front of them. And then even then, they'll go after the big bank. But what they'll do is they'll literally go to the bank and be like, listen, we have this against you. And then it's they give the big banks will give a sacrificial lamb, some second-year analyst out of college who was trying to help his grandma.
Yeah, at the very end of the Big Short movie where they're and all the big bankers went to jail. Just kidding. No, not really. None of them went to jail except this guy. And it was just one fucking dude.
Exactly. And that's my point, is that they don't have the resources to go after the big guys, so they go for the slim pickings, and if they do go after the big guys, it's almost always in cahoots, and the big banks will give up a sacrificial lamb, and then they'll call it a day. But that being said, back to what Al was saying, or what was it, AI or Al?
AL,
AL. Back to what AL was saying. The SEC, I really don't think they'll be able to do anything about Twitter and social media because, again, chat rooms have been around since literally the end of the 80s. And on top of that, none of us are I mean, it'd be like if I put like a billboard in the middle of the road and I said, SPAQ is going to this, and then I listed my reasons.
Yeah, true, but I don't know. It is different, and I guess
it would be different.
The points you're making are great if this ever went to court, for sure. But at the same time, it's like, what can they do? We're actively saying we're not telling you to buy this. We're saying we're adding it, and the fact it'd be like if fucking Jake Paul or John Mayer or damn Fergie was like, hey, I'm buying TBLT, that bitch would moon.
Well, yeah, but it's also like this. Like, think about this. The banks also release price targets and analyst reasons. It's the same thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I guess this is more just the people taking over. It's crazy to think about, and it's such a big topic now that you kind of bring all that in it. It's so much. It's not like the analysts are giving price targets. People genuinely give a fuck more about what Zach Morris has to say than what a bank says at this point.
Well, it's also because, like, Zach Morris has actual skin in the game. Zach Morris isn't see here, and this is my this is my whole issue. Is that here's the thing, okay? These analysts, they go to JP Morgan. All right, and listen, I have friends that are analysts, and I know analysts. Okay, they're nice people, but here's the thing: they go to JP Morgan, or they go to MS, or they go to Goldman Sachs, and they dig through crap, and then they put a price target on something. Okay, they almost never have real skin in the game. Okay, they're gonna do meh. Yeah, okay. If you look at some of these analyst predictions, I mean, they're absurd. I mean, I saw someone.
That motherfucker Zach got $1 million in SPAC.
Exactly. So it's like it's skin in the game. So like don't sit there behind your MS desk and be like, act all high and mighty like, oh, I can't believe Twitter's doing this. Yeah, I got 7 figures inside of stock. What do you have? All right, you're going home and getting paid. You're an employee. Okay, I'm working for this.
You have other people's money inside the stock. I have my own damn money inside the stock.
Exactly. Like we put our money where our mouth is, and I'm not telling you to buy. In fact, use me as a research firm.
Yeah, dude. Like I said the other day, you were tweeting about TBLT and pre-market. You couldn't even get it green, dude. You lost your touch.
Yeah, and like that's what I mean. Like that's my thing. Like use me as a research firm. Okay, I'm JP Morgan. Okay, but I'm Hugh Henney, and that's really the only difference.
Dude,
the only difference is that I don't get a.
You're taking investing advice from a 21-year-old college kid who pretends to be a dead dude on Twitter.
Yeah, but here's the difference. The difference between me and the JP Morgan guys is, again, I have skin in the game.
Or do you? You don't post all your positions posted daily.
What would I'm too busy to do that.
Oh yeah. All the screenshots and thing. I'm only too busy whenever I lose like 5,000 in a day, and then I'm like, I forgot it today. But I hope that answered your question, A.O. Sorry if it turned into more of a fucking like glass table debate. I think we gotta end this episode up with Swings of the Week. He used DD, and it's gonna be a special edition. He's gonna talk about how he got the DD, start to bottom, with questions from me. So how the fuck did you get from point A to point B? Then we're going to discuss our trip and then read over some mean tweets that we got. Because I know I got some, and I'm pretty sure Hugh did too. So let's go with Swings of the Week. The ones I have that were more specifically off of a charting thing was MLND and SALM. They look kind of bottomed out at their around 91 and 150-ish range. And obviously the shit today, it really does make it more difficult. So, maybe this won't age well. SPAC, I've got a little TBLT, and I like CCCL. I mean, it had a massive dip yesterday, went all the way down to around 208. And I think anywhere in that 180 to 215 range is good ad. Any news, and that bitch is gonna rock it. So, what you got, man?
Yeah. So I got obviously my TBLT. I got my Vissel. So, like I said, I'm not going crazy with loading 8 figures, but I got some Vissel.
Yeah, I had Vissel as well. It had a good mood today, dude. It went up to 143 from 130.
Yeah.
So a good 10%.
Yeah.
It's a good active tradable swing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. It's so tradable. And so we got our Vissel. Obviously, TBLT is my biggest one. And what else? Oh, ADTX, of course. I want to get some more. I want to get some more.
Dude, oh my God. during that conference on ADTX, it dropped down to 185. I added some. It went right back up to $2. Man, it was awesome.
Dang.
I'm
gonna add more. Actually, when we're done this, I'm gonna add more before after hours close. But ADTX, Vissel, TBLT, SPAQ, and then I have like this this Dutch tender that I've been trading in and out of.
Tender? I love Tender.
Yeah, Dutch tender.
Dutch Tender? Wow. Dutch woman, I like it, buddy. I always thought you were more into the crushies, but whatever. So those are our swings of the week, or swings of the until they fucking explode. So this is what, people love it, people hear about it. DD of the week. It's TBLT. What the fuck else would it be on, man? So, the way you started, from my understanding, because I actually, y'all get this, I managed to add before Hugh. I added in like 68 range, and he's like, yo, guys, TBLT looks like it's got some DD on it. Y'all saw the buys today? That was me. And I was like, fuck, dude, I was selling them all to you. And, yeah, so I didn't have any whenever he started being like, yo, TBLT's awesome. But we actually kind of came across it the same way. You saw it on Incredible Bob's Twitter. I saw it on Incredible Bob's Twitter. What did you see in it that made you look into it more? And what did you do immediately after you saw Bob tweet about it and you're like, okay, he's saying there's Lowe's PR coming. Why did you want to look into it more? And what was the next thing you did? Yeah, so I mean, like the smart Twitter investor that I am, I went and looked at TBLT's chart, and it was on a pretty big downtrend, but then I saw that it had some huge spikes. And every time that we see a huge spike, that's really, really great because we know that it can run hard. And that's what we love. Yeah, the ones in January and March. In January, it went from around 1.75 to $4, so a good 125%er. And then in March, it went 1.5 to 2.5, which is another good 75%er. So, I mean, it's got some moves in it, and right now it's sitting around 76 cents. So, I mean, you could be looking for something big. Exactly. And so what I was looking at was, okay, so why did it make those spikes? And, every time that you mention a big e-commerce or a big retail store like Lowe's or Amazon, something like that, that's always really important because that's always a huge catalyst. Anytime that someone hears that, it'd be like talking about Merck or talking about Johnson & Johnson and like a small biopharma. That's like the golden ticket. So what I wanted to look at was, okay, they had these huge spikes, but then why is it on a downtrend? So then when we started to look into it, we saw that they had the Lowe's PR. In March, they PR'd that they were going to start being in Lowe's in October. And that's when I decided, okay, let me see if I can see how close this PR is. Because they talked about it in March, and then they didn't talk about it again, ever. So I really wanted to see what was going on. And then really the thing that caught my eye was the press release that said that their year-over-year revenue was up 50%, but the stock was down, I think 75% on the year. So this instantly reminded me of Rumble, which Rumble ran, one time it ran 30 cents to 80 cents, and then the other time it ran $6 to $40. So I love those kind of plays where the revenue is like basically doubling itself, but the stock's down huge. Usually that's because they're trying to expand and they're dropping a bunch of offerings. And that's what it looked like for TBLT. But what I wanted to do was because the market's so choppy, I wanted to do a little bit of my own DD. So I went back, and the March PR that Bob found said that they had 30 SKUs and they would be launched October 2020. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to see how close they were to getting those SKUs, to being completely inside Lowe's stores. So that's when I went online and I looked at 5 different states: Maine, New Jersey, Texas, Iowa, and Florida. And North Carolina? I forget if I said that one. And what I wanted to see was how many Tough Built products did they have per store, and what was the landscape? So out of the 5 that I looked at, 4 had 25 products or SKUs
from Tough Built inside their stores. And then I actually wanted to go to my Lowe's and see, because sometimes they'll sell them online, but they won't necessarily, sometimes they'll sell them online, but they won't necessarily put them inside the store just right away. So I went to my local Lowe's, and they actually had them in store. And I was talking to the lady, and she was saying that they got it, right at the end of September, and that they had already sold out of some of the packages. And she showed me online for my local Lowe's where it said that that a new shipment on Lowe's, it says something like in store 3 to 7 days. That means that if you guys see that means that they already sold out. They already sold out, and they are now having the second shipment come through. So that's huge, okay? The product's only been in store for like 2.5, 3 weeks, and it's already selling out. And also, the other great thing is that this fits into Bob's original thesis, which was that a lot of people are stay at home, so that means that they have... there are a lot of people staying at home, so they have time to do it yourselves. All those lists that the wives want, well, now their husbands have time to do the do-it-yourself list. So when you look at Tough Built's products, they have, knee pads, they have tape measures, tape measure pouches, tool belt kits, tool belts, things that not commercial
Blue collar,
construction.
baby.
Yeah, exactly. Not commercial construction, but something that the everyday person would use for a do-it-yourself job. So that's what I was looking on Lowe's. And so to see that 4 of the 5 stores had 25 out of the 30 products already in stores and on shelves was really encouraging that we're close to a PR. I mean, this and the other thing to note is that this thing trades really thin. So that's why you don't want to go all in at 75, because there's a chance that we see 70. And then, of course, who doesn't want a 5% lower or a 6% lower?
Has a nice little support at 68, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dude, exactly. And so that's why, like, with these things, that they trade super thin, and that's why they'll go to 150, no problem. But, we got to be smart about our entries, especially with the market being so choppy. So then I saw about Amazon. And so Amazon, like everyone else, sells their data to different online websites, kind of like how Apple does. You know what I mean? Kind of like how Apple sells, if I sit here and I say,
Apple sells jobs to poor kids in developing countries to make us iPhones, is what you're talking about.
Well, what I was going to say was that if I sat here and said...
how they sell what I'm talking about to my dad on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why my dad's getting all these penny stock advertisements on his like iPhone 6.
Yeah, exactly. So if I sat here and I said, chocolate chip cookies 15 times, chances are later on Facebook or later inside, later on my web browser, I'll probably see something about chocolate chip cookies. That's because they sell their data user. Well, so does Amazon. And this website called Helium has all of their data analytics for Amazon for the different sellers. So I went on there and I created an Excel spreadsheet for all this. And what I did was that I took all the products that this website had from Tough Built for Amazon, and I created this spreadsheet. And what I did was that they had, so these were the different categories. They had sales average monthly year to date. So all the months from now till September, they averaged the amount of sales per item per month. So I took that and times that by 12 to get our projected annual, or for the end of the year, sales number. Then I subtracted that from last year's sales. So, say they sold 3,000 last year. 3,000, they're on pace to sell 3,000 this year. And then last year they sold 1,200. Then I would see, what kind of percentage increase that was. And what I found was that there were, and then the last category was so they've been on Amazon since 2019. And so what I found was, so they had their best month sale per item. And what I found was that out of the 20, 16 out of the 20 had their best month inside the past 3 months, hence last quarter. So when this quarter 3 earnings comes out, we already know that 16 of the 20 products had their best month ever. Then on top of that, if you guys go back and look at my Excel spreadsheet, you saw that there were some things that weren't on pace to hit last year's numbers. Well, I think it was maybe 5 things weren't on pace to hit last year's numbers. Well, I feel my thesis is that it's a little skewed because I feel that when Corona first started and everyone was shut down, nobody was going to stores, nobody was buying anything, hence it took the average way down. Because the other thing is that every single item and every single product that wasn't on pace to meet last year's sales numbers also had their best month ever within the last 3 months. So that tells me something huge, that even though the average is down, they still had their best month ever. So this earnings report is going to be knock out of the water because last earnings report was knock out of the water. It was 50% increase in revenue. And I think that this one, I wouldn't be shocked to say another 50% increase in revenue this quarter.
So are you gonna do more like continuous DD? Like are you gonna just continue checking Lowe's.com, maybe take more trips to Lowe's? Like what else are you gonna kind of continue doing from there?
Yeah, so that's really good. Continuous DD is super, super, super important. And one of the things that I touched on it inside my tweets, but I was trying to get more out of investor relations before I really put this out there. But in March, Tough Built put out a press release that said that they built 70 new SKUs, and that their product line is basically just waiting to be job tested. So again, I'll say that again. Basically, that sums it up to say they created 70 new products. All they wanted was for it to job test. Then they were going to put out this product line. And what that product line included was thermal imaging. Okay?
Oh, shit.
Hence Mark, hence COVID, all this stuff. So I emailed investor relations and I said, hey, you guys haven't talked about this in 6 months. When can we get an update? And then I asked another question about, is Lowe's on track? And he only answered the Lowe's question, saying that Lowe's is on track for full disbursement in October. And he wouldn't answer the thermal imaging. So I'm starting to dig a little bit more into that one and see what I can find. I can't find any, So again, they also got now this is really interesting. They got a patent in August for a tablet-like patent, hence thermal imaging.
Well, Jesus Christ, this time I thought you were just on Lowe's website just for fun. Yeah. And here you are giving us all this damn information. Okay,
so again, I'm not. Wait. So it's good. Wait, disclaimer.
Hold up, I've got more to tell you.
Yeah, no, I do because it's all starting to come back to me. But so like I said, we have the sales numbers, we have the Lowe's PR, we have the valuation. I think everything's going good to us. It trades a little thin, but that's why we average down and we keep it good. And then
there are good dip ads today.
Yeah, and listen, if anyone knows anything about thermal imaging or, they can dig into it because I'm trying to dig, but I'm hitting a little bit of a brick wall. So, if we get a thermal imaging PR that they tested, that their new product line is 70 new things and they're hitting shelves and one of them's thermal imaging, I don't even know.
Okay, so cool. So that kind of sums up for TBL2.
Yeah, no, that's good for TBL2.
All right, cool. So one question that a lot of people were asking, and I think it could be a decent little thing if we kind of went over the Bob one and go over some things he kind of answered, and if you have anything different that he does as his little grasshopper. He said he likes to use level 2 instead of whenever he was asked about how much he uses volume. He says he prefers level 2. How can you kind of dive in on that at all?
About level 2?
Is that more of a whole segment for itself?
Yeah. That's definitely more of a whole segment thing as far as level 2 goes. Actually, this would be great for Bob.
Oh, wow. How will we happen to get him on the podcast?
How will you get Bob on the podcast?
Well, we have to teach him what a podcast is.
Yeah. First. We need everybody to tweet. Please tweet at him because he has his Twitter notifications on, so he'll see them all. Everyone
at Incredible Bob 12.
Yeah, Incredible Bob 12, and tell him that you need him to explain level 2 on PGIR.
On Pennies Going in Raw.
Yeah, but don't tell him. Wait, the most important
thing.
Don't
say it was us. Just say it was like your idea.
Yeah.
And this could be like
we just need 2,000 people.
Right. Hashtag PGIR in it, and so we'll know. And this will be like, you know how we used to do like the thing, like, what's your favorite cereal? And you answered on Twitter. This is going to be how you prove it to us this time.
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
it.
Yeah, just, please, Bob. Please, we need you to teach.
Like, we need you. Yes. Amen.
Oh, that would be
bro.
so sick. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so yeah, appreciate it in advance. Okay, so we'll get you guys level 2 next week after Bob says yes. So in between our little hiatus, I came up to visit. Me, Gary Trades, and Vinegar Strokes. We went up there, man. It was a blast, dude.
I'm glad you had fun.
Would you agree?
Oh yeah, dude. I had a
Thank
great
you.
time. Would
Would you invite me back?
Never.
Okay, well, you know, I'm more of like a one and done kind of guy, anyways. So
Yeah, that's what I heard.
yeah. From who? But yeah, dude, it was a lot of fun. He was a great host. Vinny had a lot of fun too. I had a blast meeting him, and Gary was the man as well. It was actually funny because we had this like situation where we had one night where Uber drivers, well, one saved me, one fucked you. Mine
Not
prevented
literally.
me from
Not
getting
literally.
robbed.
Not literally.
Oh yeah, no one got fucked. Selena. Like I was letting her know, you know, you're welcome. Anyways, so I was drunk, had a couple beers that night, and I wanted to go to a part of town. So I called, and he would mention not to go to this part of town. Please don't go. But I was like, okay, a pussy's
Not my
telling me
town.
not to
Not
go
my
somewhere.
town.
Yeah. It was a bad part of the state, New Jersey. How about that? So I hop in this Uber, and he's like, "Are you going here alone?" And I'm like, yeah. He's like, why? And I'm like, "'Cause I need to go there, man." And he's like, "Okay, well, do you at least have password on phone?" And I'm like, "No, I'll put one on there." So I put a password on my phone, and after a while, he was like, "I do not feel comfortable taking you here." And I was like, "What the hell do you mean?" And yeah, after some convincing, I was like, well, this stranger said he didn't want to feel responsibility towards what happened to me. Should I go here? So I took that as a little more at face value than what Hugh said. So yeah, I turned my happy ass around, spent $70 on a new Uber going nowhere. I was like, okay, take me to this coffee shop, and it happened to be Hugh's apartment, and it was great from there. But on the other side of things, Hugh went in an Uber, and the next day we went to go get his wallet that he forgot in it back. And you got your wallet, didn't you, buddy?
Yeah. The guy handed me like an empty. I mean, I had everything except my cash. Guy handed me my wallet, and he was like, "Everything is there," and I'm like, yeah, everything except my cash. And Hugh was like, "Do you want me to?" Before he opened his wallet, he's like, "Do you want me to Venmo you, man?" He's like, "No." And some people call that a guilty conscience. I call that a shitty thief. I mean, you already stole from him once. You might as well get some extra cash while you're at it. Yeah. So he was like, and then even still, I was like, he was like, "Oh, the girl after you must have stole the money," and I was like, "Yeah, okay." And then even then I was like, "Oh,
bitch."
Yeah. I was like, "Can I give you like a few bucks?" And he's like, "Oh, no." I'm like, okay.
Okay, so now for mean tweets. I'm sure we both got a bunch of them. I know I did. So I'll read over some of the ones that I got, and then you can go over the ones you got. So here, let me start. So Hugh started. He made a video of me running, and I'll just read some of these off. Hugh sent these to me. So let me start this. Looks like we should all be running a benefit 5K for Dan. Does not look healthy. Thank you, the great Bambino. Dan runs like he's wearing scuba diving equipment and flopping his duck feet, LOL. Thank you, Trade with Beelan. Jesus, boys, cardio needs work. He looks like Fear and Loathing. Thank you, Ridgeline Stocks. At Hugh Henney, it was very nice of you to donate all that time to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and give Dip Dibbity a memory he'll never forget. Trader Krabs, it was a memory I'll never forget. there's a picture of me and Hugh together, and someone goes, "You can tell the difference between millionaire and under 100K trader." Hugh says it's the hair. One guy says the shirt too. Another guy responds, and the pants. And then the original poster responds, "Okay, so I guess it's everything."
That's my favorite one, by the way.
Yeah, it was actually funny. Whenever we were in New Jersey, he was like, "Yeah, dude, look, another great one." I'm like, "Yeah, these are so fucking hilarious, dude." One was a picture of me and Hugh working out together, and it said, "Man, you make this shit too easy." And then, last but not least, was a very simple one by Barbarian Trades that just says, "Did Dip Deity throw up or piss the bed?" No context. There was no wet bed. He just wrote that. So what did you get? You get it? What main ones did you get?
Hugh, there's one hair out of line on top of your head. Please fix.
Okay. Any other ones?
Yeah, dude, that was horribly mean. What are you talking about? Dude.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't even mean. Like, that's all you got? And no one.
Yeah, dude.
No one was that mean?
Yeah.
What the? So
dude, that was pretty mean.
Well, I know, but I got at least like 80. I mean, there were some I just didn't want to read on the podcast because they were a little offensive.
Well, I didn't want to read that one.
Yeah, so I guess this is like, okay. Yeah, make sure to rate us 5 stars and subscribe on YouTube or whatever. I'm gonna go do some squats.